Meeting will come to order. I'd like to welcome everyone out to another budget work session on June the 4th, 2026. We met yesterday and are continuing today. And one thing I'd like to ask of my fellow commissioners is today, when we have a presenter, if we could wait until they are finished presenting to ask them questions. And let's try to stay on point. I felt like a couple of times yesterday, we kind of got out in the weeds a little bit. We could make the questions narrow and to the point. It'll speed this process up. All right, I'll turn it over to the county manager.
Yes, our first speaker today will be the school system superintendent Stokes. So I will turn it over to him for his presentation.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, the Castle County Schools is pleased to be here to share information regarding our status. So first, I want to give an update of our Capital 888 projects. Our school board and our school system is very thankful for the Capital 888 reserve. As you know, we've appropriated $888,000 to us. And so as of today, of the 27 projects, 2 projects have not begun. The reason those 2 projects have not begun, one is the South Elementary Water Treatment Plant, because students cannot be in the building because we have to cut water off for that. That's one that we know will need to have some encumbrances to carry over into the next fiscal year. And the second one is the drainage for custom cuts. They're doing some work outside the school. That will begin next week and will be completed by the end. And so thus far, we have, of the $888,000, we have a total of $882,300.11 in quotes and work being done. To this date, total reimbursement requests that we've sent to this organization has been $97,219.06. And our next reimbursement we hope to have to you by June 12th with total $536,865.11. Our biggest projects are the chillers at both North and South Elementary. They're approximately 50% complete. They are on site working with those. And so those, of course, are the major of the 888 that has not been invoiced. Well, we're expecting to have those invoices coming in before the June 30th deadline. So total money spent encumbered has been $701,300.11, giving us again the total remaining projects $882,311. Once my board meets on Monday, I can send you the written format given the progress. But my board has been updated, but I would like to make sure that they've approved it before I send it to you. It was asked of us to talk about what were our capital outlay priorities for the upcoming school year. We have not put in a rank on any of those items yet. However, we still have needs regarding from HVAC, pavement, some security issues, water and sewer needs at various sites, some athletic places that could help fix some leaking roofs. So once my board has helped me put this list in a prioritized order, I can get it to the county commissioners where we do meet Monday. One of the concerns, I just want to be thankful that this past capital reserve 888 has been very influential in helping us move in the right direction and keeping our facilities up and running. And we're definitely appreciative of that. With the same flat appropriation funding that we received last year, we are thankful for that because it could have been less. It does pose challenges to us. However, we would not have our state budget until the state is expected to vote the week of June 15th, which is week after next. So my understanding that vote will occur on June 17th. So we'll know what local current expenses, local staff, health benefits, things will cost will impact our local our operating expenses. I now defer to the county commissioners for any questions.
Open the floor for questions, gentlemen. Yes, sir.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Will you have all the capital needs, costs itemized by the 15th so we can review it prior to voting on the budget?
You're talking for the upcoming school year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I cannot guarantee that, but we will work on that. As far as what costs, we may have estimates.
I think we're responsible for overlooking that money, so we need that to see
Yes, sir.
before we vote on it.
We'll take note of that and get that to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ms. Stokes, are you going to speak for the school board, or you going to have someone else speaking?
I am the only one presenting today.
Okay, can I ask another
Yes,
question?
sir.
What, do you have your current fund balance to date for the
So,
school board?
so our current fund balance is approximately, I'll ask my CFO to come up and join me, but I think I'm almost right. Our current fund balance total, restricted and unrestricted funds, is approximately 1.9 million. But that 1.9 million, that has not, we have not removed what we've appropriated for this year's budget from that balance, which right now is right now at the last presentation I shared with my board was approximately 715,000 that has not been reappropriated yet.
Okay, and you say that it's not just unassigned, but that's the entire fund balance.
1.9 million, yes, sir.
Okay, do you know what the unassigned is?
The unassigned is less than $1 million.
Okay, but, and that does not include where you had to dip into it for this year. Is that correct?
That does not currently what we've appropriated for this school year, yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Ms. Stokes, what was the total amount y'all were asking for in capital this time?
Total ask,
Mhm.
I'm gonna need my CFO to come up with get that exact number.
Okay.
The total ask for capital outlay was of roughly $1.2 million.
I'm not going to direct this question at you, but I'm going to direct it to Ms. Stokes. I guess if y'all asking for 1.2, you don't have any plan in place as to what money is needed for what projects.
So NCDPI is requiring us to submit a new facility plan, all LEAs. We're currently working on that as well because NCDPI has asked us to, if they're going to a new platform for us to do facility plan. So we're working on that because our last approved facility plan has, through some transitions we've had, just a good number of transitions. So therefore, some things have been executed, some things have not. And so without that plan, we continue to be in a place where we don't really have the clearest of direction moving forward. And so our goal is to have that moving forward.
And just a reminder that we are having the recommended budget, the same amount, 400,000 as last year. And as we showed on the slide, we will be looking for the difference. I think it was like 865,000 to come from lottery funds. And of course, both boards would have to agree.
Yes, because some of the projects that we're looking at require, of course, both boards to agree. Some planning regarding that, but I'm not able to speak at length on that because my board has not made a final decision and direction regarding that. So I do not want to put anything out there before our board has approved it.
Your board does realize that we got to have a budget in place by June the 30th, don't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, like they're a little behind, if I might be blunt.
Do understand,
Come
sir.
to us with a request, but yet you're not, I'm saying you, but the school system in general is not able to tell us where they need this capital money spent, what it needs to be spent on. Today is June the 4th. We anticipate adopting a budget in 11 days on the 15th. So I would suggest your board step up the process a little bit.
Duly noted.
Any other questions for Mr. Stokes?
I've got one other question. Mr. Stokes, what's your current enrollment in the Castle County schools?
Our current enrollment as of our May, we have a certain day of each month, we pull the numbers. It was 1998.
1998. And do you know how many students you're having to pay out of the system, say charter schools and so forth? How much of that money is having to go to other schools?
Yeah, so we have,
Losing because of that.
it's over 300 students, and I want to say it's about 400,000 we're having to pay for charter school.
300 students, 400,000.
It's in the 300s, and we're paying approximately at least 400,000 going to the
Okay.
charter schools.
Thank you.
Anything else for the superintendent? All right, Mr. Stokes, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
At this time, we would like to show you about 5 slides to just help you with some decisions or questions that you may have for the departments that are here today.
Slides that you all see here is to address Commissioner Claggett's question yesterday regarding what 2 extra paid days off would cost the county for full-time employees. On paper for all on paper, full-time employees, the value is about $113,000. But that overstates it, because more for most staff, it's not a cash cost. Salary employees take the time and are paid the same. So the county would, in essence, not be issuing an additional check. But the real cost is in our 24/7 operations. So departments like EMS, 911, detention center, sheriff's department, where an open shift must be covered, and it would likely be done so using overtime. And that backfill is estimated at about 74,000. If the board moves forward, we believe administratively the cleanest way is to add these 2 paid off days to everyone's leave bank with basically no restrictions. So this slide addresses pay increases and bonus cost options. The board asked the administration to price, and at 1% pay increase is a recurring cost about 149,000 in the general fund and about 160,000 across all funds. Those figures include FICA, retirement, and reflects our budgeted vacancy rates. The one-time bonus at $1,000 for full-time employees and $500 for part-time employees would cost about $346,000 all in, covering roughly 323 employees. One note on the bonus: a $1,000 bonus for an employee is about $800 in the employee's check after taxes and withholdings. Both numbers are estimates, and we can definitely tighten them once the board signals which direction is preferred.
And also, like he was saying as well, I think you will definitely see that number reduce, because if you put the 500 hours worked and still active for part-time employees, if they would have had to work in this fiscal year starting July 1 to June 30th, they would need to have worked those hours in this current fiscal year that we're in order to be able to get that. And just remember, the 1% raise is a recurring cost, and the one-time bonus is not, it's a one-time. And for the maintenance, I know there was questions just saying you kind of wanted to see what was funded in FY '27 and what was not funded. So the parking lot pavement for 911 was included. The HVAC at the ag building and Co-Square is included. Water testing is included. Roofing, concession stand and courthouse are included. Tap and meter at Pelham is included. Backflow preventers at Pelham included. Gutter guards, probation, and Section 8 are included. And what was deferred to a future year is painting the historical courthouse, carpet and flooring at the ag, fencing at Guilford Mills, carpet and flooring at the courthouse, basement, and that's what $144,000 was deferred. So that's just to give you an idea of the maintenance projects that were funded, just broken out, and what was not funded and deferred. The next slide, I know you've seen something very similar to this yesterday. I'm showing you the FY '26 options of savings that we have. We were able, the Deputy Finance Director, Ms. Miller, had gotten me the additional FY '26 maintenance capital that will not be spent in this fiscal year, which was $41,984. So when you put that with the other, the $944,000 that we went over yesterday, the net available, the total available is $985,984. And on the next slide, it will show you the proposed uses. And of course, this is at your discretion. You can make changes anywhere that you would like. This is just giving you some options here. If you wanted to do the one-time employee bonus, it has it fully loaded here at $346,000, $338,000. The EMS ambulance remount of $275, and the sheriff's department with the uplift up to 6 vehicles at $351,000, which is $972,338. So I was hoping maybe this would help you when you talk to these departments, help you with your questions you may want to ask.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
And this still, on this last page, page number 5, with doing this, there's still no tax increase associated with any of this.
Correct. This is left over from FY '26 funds savings that we had for FY '26. And we would come back to the board at the June 15th meeting with a budget amendment.
Okay, and this is no reoccurring on this either, correct?
No, it's not reoccurring. These are all one time. And this just would help. We've got the funds now that we could pay for. And since, we have to go to the LGC for any debt service, this would be a way that we could go ahead and make some of these purchases, because I know the sheriff's department, we are already getting ready to be 2 cycles behind because there's no cars appropriated for FY '27. And then the EMS remount, I know if we have to wait and take this through the LGC, I'm not sure how much longer it would continue to defer these.
Thank you.
All right.
Listen, looking at page 3, where you've got the original requested projects funded in '27, let's just say if you have another elevator that goes out, $75,000, where's that money coming from?
We would have to come back for anything that costs that much. We would have to come back to the board, and you would have to appropriate at that time fund balance. But keep in mind, that's a one-time occurrence. It's not like you're doing something that's recurring out of it. So we would just have to come back before the board. But I do know he has up to 90,000 for like capital outlay besides these other items that they're also included.
Sure.
In addition, the 90,000. And then also there's an additional, I think, 50,000 for if we have issues with HVAC or electrical. But if we had anything that was of a large cost, we would need to come back to the board because we wouldn't have any funding for it.
Okay, as I mentioned yesterday, it's a little bit concerning to me that we're paying cash for the ambulance and now the remount. And I know that's savings we had during the year, but you know better than I do as to how our cash looks and how we're looking in relationship to what the state requires. Obviously, we're looking pretty good to be able to do that.
We should be at the 11.1% still, and there will be some additional savings that can go back. And whatever you choose, if you choose, this is just, I provided on the last slide, some examples of what you can do with the savings. You don't have to fund everything I put on there. If you decide not to, that's more that will go back into fund balance. But these are things that we could go ahead and purchase. And I know Ms. Sharp, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, but if we had to come back for a one-time purchase, I don't think that the LGC would frown upon that, because we will be above, in which they don't require, but they say that it's recommended
Yeah.
to have at least 8%. We would be above that, and they would see that it was for a one-time purchase that was, out of our control.
Okay, but the fund balance and the cash balance can be two different numbers, right? Cash and bank. So that's what I'm saying. Obviously, we're in pretty good shape on cash and bank to be able to pay $600,000 for a remount, and a new ambulance without getting in trouble with the state.
Exactly, because we can pay, it's fine to pay the cash for it. That, like you said, that's different than with the fund balance. So at this time, is it particular departments you would like to call up to hear their request, or what questions you may have?
Please, Health Department. Mr. Rose says Health Department.
Good,
Afternoon.
good evening. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Just have a couple questions for you. I do see, on one of the slides, we had just a option for capital purchases from 26 savings. It had in here, 2 vehicles for the health department. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. We have 2 of the original vehicles that were purchased by the county. They're not part of the fleet. One is a F-150 pickup truck. It has, I think, right around 100,000 miles on it. The 4-wheel drive engages just sporadically. The staff have disconnected the 4-wheel drive so that it stays in 2-wheel drive. Otherwise, there's this grinding noise. The air will not switch back and forth between defrost feet and face, so they're not able to use air conditioner or heat. And I think there's one other, tires. It needs new tires.
Okay.
Otherwise, it still is working. They drive it when they have to. They try not to drive it if they don't have to.
Right.
The other car is a Ford Focus. It has around 72,000 miles on it. There's not really anything mechanically wrong with it, but our care managers drive it. They go out into the far reaches of the county. They're seeing patients that live off the road. It's a small car. It's not really meant for the type of driving that they do. I put it in the budget every year just to remind you guys that we have those old vehicles.
Right.
But if it comes down to me keeping staff employed or being able to give them a raise, we can make do with the cars we have. There's a plan in place right now to shuffle cars a little bit because Donnie Powell is retiring and he drives public health because he is technically still partially a health department employee. He still drives that truck. Matt Manus will start driving it when he retires, and then we'll shift cars down. We'd still like to be able to use the F-150. So if we don't replace it, we are going to have a significant repair cost for it. And I think we cut our repair cost in that vehicle repair line item. We may need to adjust that after the beginning of the year.
Right. Well, that was going to be one of my recommendations when I was looking through everything last night is, with Mr. Powell retiring the end of June, there's a vehicle that's going to be open there. So if we could move the person behind him up to that vehicle and kind of stair step it up, then we could kind of eliminate that. My
I
last
think he
question,
plans to do that week after next to go ahead and transition that over to Matt.
my question to you is, and it's a twofold question. One, with that being taken care of the truck, do you think you could deal with the other car you have for another year? And on the backside, I know the manager's going to take a look at the fleet. It's going to take a little bit to do that, but in her doing that, if she can find something within those vehicles that's a little better shape, maybe we could look at trying to move that over to them.
Okay.
I appreciate it. One other question I have real quick, Mr. Chairman, this last slide you gave us, and I'm done.
Okay.
I think, wait a minute. Somebody else may have a
Okay.
question. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Hold it right there, Mr. Rose. Let's finish up with the health department. What year model is the F-150?
I think it's a 2013.
What about
Or
the Ford?
it might be a 15. The Focus is a 13, I think, and the truck is a 15.
All right, that's all I need to know. Any other questions for the director? All right, thank you, ma'am.
I have one follow-up for the
All right.
manager. Madam Manager, due to that, being able to handle that issue, was this 985, 984, was that including this? Was that including the vehicles from the health department into that fund or not?
Not on the new slide because I had talked
Okay.
to
So
Wood
we could take this,
beforehand.
we could take this 985, 984 and add,
I have that last slide without the health department, the cars in it. They've already been removed. Yesterday had them in them.
Okay.
But the one I'm presented today, I had removed them because I
Gotcha.
had talked to Miss Eastwood to see,
okay,
if they were able to go one more year.
thank you.
Let's do EMS.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I apologize for not getting the slides in time so we could have them on the screen, but in front of you, hey, you just have a brief review and overview for this upcoming year. In fiscal year 25, we responded to about 4,000 calls and had about 4,500 reports. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. Since 2022, we've seen about a 7% increase in call volume. And in fiscal year 25, we brought in about a 1.185 million from EMS billing. It's misstated on this slide on page 2, the second slide, slide number 4. There's an additional portion that is not included in this 1.185 because that's what's used to offset some of the fee that EMSMC charges. So our actual revenue should be a little bit higher than what's stated. And in 2025, we drove approximately almost 179,000 miles. On page 3, you can see that we've got 2 ambulances that have reached the end of their life, pretty much exceeded it. And to go along with that, our vehicle repair costs each year have been increasing. In 2024, we saw vehicle repair cost of $37,000 up to this current year. So far, we spent $63,000. The 3 trucks that have exceeded their useful life or exceeded their expected life. 209 is a 2015 F450. When you factor in not only the actual mileage on the truck, but the engine idle hours, and how you do that is 40 miles per idle hour, you get up to over 600,000 miles. The same thing with 204. It's over 500,000 as well. And 207 is quickly approaching that point, and it's a 2019 F450. On page 4, something that we need to look at, not necessarily during budget time, but in the future, is a fleet replacement plan. Our original request included 2 remounts, and we understand that every department's got to pitch in cutting the budget so that we're not using fund balance and not proposing a tax increase. But a vehicle replacement plan, especially for the ambulances, is something that's sorely needed. Also in the FY 27 budget is a $300,000 vacancy allowance. $300,000 equates to 4 paramedics. That will cut the number of trucks, the number of ambulances that we have staffed during the day from 4 trucks down to 3 trucks. Right now we have 4 trucks that are on the road during the day if we're fully staffed, and 3 trucks at night. This will cut us to 3 trucks 24 hours. And as you expect, the daytime is our busiest hours. The last page, as Commissioner Ingram, who's not with us today, asked, EMS salaries are sorely behind, and we're not under any illusion that we can compete with the Durham County and Orange County. But I wanted you to see how we compare with other counties, because we are competing with the surrounding counties. And it's hard to when you have EMTs that are making $9,000 less than their counterparts in other counties, all the way up to paramedics who are $6,000 less. I know that's not something that we could fix right here, right now, but I wanted you to be aware of it. And with that, you have my contact information. I think all of you have my phone number anyway. I'm open for questions right now. If you have questions later, feel free to contact me.
Questions?
Mr. Yarborough,
Yes, sir.
looking at that remount that we were looking at through our, budget process, I see the price in here. Have you contacted the company? Because I know when we looked at this, it was months back.
Yes, sir.
Is any cost changed with that?
I spoke to him this morning. He was at the hospital with his wife who was having some surgery done. He said he couldn't lay eyes on it, but he didn't expect a major increase from the original quote he gave us.
That's truck 204.
That's truck 209.
209 is the one you want to do the remount on.
That's going to be our oldest truck and the one with the most miles on it.
Well, explain remount to me again. I know, Barry did it when he came before us 12, 18 months ago. What are you keeping?
We're keeping the box.
You're keeping the box. You're
we're
getting the
taking-
cab and chassis.
Correct. And we're taking that box. They're unmounting it from the old truck and putting it on a brand new cabin chassis.
Okay, okay. Huh. For some reason I had in my mind, it was right the opposite. That you were keeping the cabin chassis and getting a new box, but.
No, sir. And in that process, they refurb everything that needs refurbing. The HVAC in the back of the truck gets refurbished as well as the charging system. The inverter system gets replaced as well during that process.
And all that's figured into that cost.
Yes, sir. And it also includes the stretchers and power loads. That is something that that has not been included in the past, but it is sorely needed to be included in these costs. This is a turnkey price on including everything from all vendors.
But 209 is the one you're talking about doing.
Correct. That's the
Okay.
oldest one with the most miles on.
Okay, all right, all right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm the same place you were with, to remember, because I do remember him talking about there were, rules and regulations on the things in the box not being up to standards or new. And that's where that came from, because he was talking about that the box had to be redone every so many years too, or so many hours.
The box, our goal is to, when we get a new truck like we did in September, that one will reach its useful life, and I'm hoping to get 5 years out of it. Once we get to that point of redoing that truck, we will take that box off, since it's a brand new box, and put it on a new chassis to get us 5 more years out of that box.
And correct me if I'm wrong, John, but that's usually only recommended to do once for safety reasons.
Correct, because if you get much more than that, if they x-ray the box, they'll see that welds have started breaking and
Yeah,
such.
That was a question that I know myself and former Commissioner Wren had. Wasn't there a way to x-ray that box to see cracks, and if it wasn't it still usable?
The chances of it cracking if you remount it more than once are going to increase.
Okay, now I get that, I do.
There are ways to x-ray it, but once you remount it more than once, that box is probably going to have close to 500,000 road miles on it and a total of 1,000,000 miles when you include idle hours.
Any more questions?
John, how many tow trucks do you have?
Right now, we have 7.
7.
How many, on average, how many times in a week are all 4 trucks out?
We run out of trucks. I'd like to say once a day. We may call for standbys, but that's not always the case because we're not always fully staffed. Right now, we have 5 open positions that we could hire if we didn't have a vacancy allowance.
Any more questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
John, what is the cost savings on this remount versus a new truck?
So the remount, I think we have 275 that's in the proposal on the table right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
The new truck that we bought that was delivered in September was 351. And if you want to add one cost that we didn't equate to that you seen on the contingency fund slide yesterday was the $10,500 for tags for that truck that we had to pull out of contingency in September. Nobody equated for that in the original cost. And my proposal, that 275 actually includes that.
Thank you.
So it actually goes up to about 361 for a new truck.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
John, so you've got a freeze on 4 positions. So how's that?
Go ahead.
How's that look? I mean, we've got 7 ambulances and you got a freeze on 4 positions.
Sure.
How does that look to the public? I mean, what does that amount to? What's the result of that?
Right now, we have 24 positions that are 24-hour set and 24 hours on, 72 hours off. And we also have 4 positions that work what we call a 2-2-3 schedule, in which they work 12 hours. And they'll work 36 hours one week and 48 the next. Those 4 positions will be eliminated because they only work 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Those 4 positions will be not eliminated, but put on hold because of the vacancy allowance.
How's that going to affect service time and response time?
If we have to do that, we'll probably bring all 3 trucks back to Yanceyville instead of having trucks at out bases. That's going to increase response times to the far edges of the county.
Any more questions? All right, thank you. Who else do we have? Madam Manager?
You have the sheriff's department.
All right. Sheriff, you coming up? Afternoon.
The malpractice was the final percent as she explained that we 2 cycles. The vehicle, the shelf life of the basically we had I appreciate y'all, but the malpractice, I don't I'm over. I said I had a speech with y'all know the main purpose of the government is to protect and serve the people. Y'all know all this, so.
All right, questions?
Sheriff, I know we don't, I think it was originally put in there for 10 vehicle. Would these 6 go a long way to helping alleviate some issues you have?
So, I'll try to piece part those, out of control. So I have to find some money somewhere, keep them running.
Sheriff, as you know, we've got a freeze on all vacancies. How many vacancies does the department have?
What's your total number of vehicles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got you. I'll
Sheriff,
get back to Mr. Rose's question. If we can't do 10, if we can do 5 or 6, I'm taking it that would help. Okay. I understand.
Sheriff, would these be replacing your high pursuit vehicles that have the high mileage and wear on them?
Any other questions? All right, Sheriff, thank you very much.
And then we have our maintenance department.
All right, Mr. Hayes. What questions y'all have for the maintenance director?
I had a number of questions. I think Melissa's answered a lot of my questions today. And yeah, I just want to make sure that your funding was sufficient to see you through the next 12 months. I'm concerned and what we would do in the case of an emergency or a major repair, where that money come from, and she's addressed that. So I guess day-to-day maintenance, you've got money for maintenance and I know you've got some personnel on freeze too. Is that correct?
There's one cleaning, one on the cleaning crew that we have.
I'd like to make a comment. Cordelia, I'd say you probably run the tightest ship in this county. And I just want to let you know, I appreciate it.
No questions, Mr. Hayes?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't really have a question. I mean, I think he knows as well as I do that, everybody's had to struggle this budget cycle. Everybody's had to cut back. But I guess going off what Commissioner Hope said, I've seen you take nothing and make something out of it, and I appreciate it. That's not taken away from any of our other of our department heads, because all of them do a great job, and I appreciate everything they do. But you're kind of tasked at some point in time when their stuff breaks is trying to get it fixed, and I do appreciate everything you do, and I know has been a struggle with this budget. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
No questions? Thank you, RD.
And we have our solid waste director here.
Mr. Fuker.
Afternoon.
Thank you for being here.
So, most of you are aware, the fees did go up. And as we've been speaking since middle of last year, majority of the fees are going to the monitoring wells that the state is requiring us to put in additional monitoring. Excuse me, as well as the contract, we have one more year left with First Piedmont and their fees went up as well for the disposal side. I can go over anything you want. I have documentation. We can look at stuff. If you got any questions, I'm open.
Questions? Total amount, what total cost on those monitoring wells we're gonna have to install?
It was around 118,000, right?
Yeah, let me,
I'm sure it's in here, but you've got it even closer than I have.
yeah, so the monitoring wells, it's around 118,000 increase. But that includes putting the new wells in, testing all the wells for PFAS, as well as the lab fees for the current testing we're doing, and establishing the roads to the monitoring wells as well as to the surface water samples that we have to do. And we're doing a lot of that stuff in-house to cut cost.
Is the state giving you a definite number on how many wells?
Yes, sir. So right now we're at 2. We did have some money left over. We did test our supply well at the landfill. I got them to go ahead and do that, and that was negative. So that contributed to the number. So we're only doing 2, and they're clustered kind of together. So that also saves on money getting a road in.
How does the monitoring well just compare to a conventional well that someone might have at their home?
The depth is very shallow. Some are a lot shallower than your normal drinking well. And I could get my other book and tell you exactly the depth, but we won't go there unless you want to know.
No, go ahead.
Basically, if you think about a 3-inch pipe in the ground and it's cased, and when they get ready to test it, they stick a tube down in it and they hook it. They have different pumps depending on the volume of that well, and they pump out water and they put it in the tube sample, and it's encased off of the ground in concrete and locked. And that's something the state requires. We have to check the locks and all. But they drill them on a well drilling skid, and they drill and they have a certain amount. If they don't hit, we have to move.
They don't hit water.
They don't hit water. That's correct. And then we have to develop the well. And if the well doesn't produce enough, then we have to come back. So we try to make sure when they drill, I'm on site with them. We try to make sure we hit enough water where it will develop to save cost to having to come back. I can go get my my well book and tell you, I don't know off the top of my head. So they're pumping them off a 12-bolt pump. So I would say maybe a gallon, less than a gallon a minute.
Can't be much if they're doing it like that.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to say it's gonna be 1,000 feet deep as much as it's costing.
Yeah.
No, so for example, and I can tell you a little bit more and to break it down. So they're doing the weep, sweep, and sampling. So basically, a representative from SM&E and myself is going to walk from the creek property line. There's 2 creeks on the property. We're going to walk from one of them from property line to property line and do them both. And they're going to look for any settlement and they're going to take samples of settlement or anything in the creek. That's $7,100. Okay. To install the 2 wells is $3,900. Okay. And then they have to develop the wells, which is around $4,000. There's 2 sampling events, and that includes the PFAS sampling of those 2 wells and the lab costs and my already in-ground wells, which is around $28,000. And we have to pour the water which I'm thinking is part of their development, and that is right at $6,000. As well as we have to do assessment report for the PFAS to the state, which is another $7,000. And then, I mean, in the proposal well monitoring, I have to buy rock to get rock to the wells so that they are a all-weather road so they can get their vehicles to the wells. And we'll install the rock ourselves, so we're not paying somebody to do it.
Are these the only two you'll have to do the PFAS sampling on?
No, sir, I gotta do them
Doing
on
them
every
all.
well. Yes, sir, 13 of them, plus I currently do 3 groundwater samples, and surface water, and we added 4 more, so a total of 7 surface waters as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We were on the verge of coming off of any type of monitoring because the landfill's been closed for a number of years.
Until the state decides to start testing for PFAS.
I was thinking that was what you had told us. Yes, sir.
AJ, you said we contract First Piedmont now, correct?
Yes, sir.
And those, it looks like those fees increasing year after year after year.
That's correct.
How many other companies around are you able to get quotes from?
I've done 2 RFPs since I've been the director, over the time frame, and nobody will bid against them. They're the only company that will turn a bid in.
Mhm.
I send it out, we put it on the website. I'm happy to do whatever we need to do to get some other companies. It will become next year will be time to bid. I'll have to build the RFP, put all the data in it,
Right.
and we'll have to put it out next year.
What is the main cost associated with? Is it with the hauling or is it with the trash space within their landfill?
The tipping is the most expensive, but the hauling costs as well.
Have you ever thought about looking at seeing what, if there's any savings or it could be more cost? I don't know of us actually hauling it. If, I don't know. I'm just asking
So
if we ever looked at that.
we can look at that if y'all want to form a committee, so we can put some ideas and thoughts in there. We could haul the open tops from the Yancel Center and let them continue to do the Packer boxes. Or we could take it over all, but I will tell you, I can't do it with the staff I have,
Right.
and I can't do it with the trucks I have.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's something we need to change. I said, I guess I'm looking at it from the aspect of if we took a look at that to see if there is some cost savings, because, I mean, it's 2 things that I feel like in life's not going away. Taxes not going away and trash.
Right, and I will tell you 2 things on that statement you just made. We can definitely take a dive into it before we put the RFP out.
Mhm.
But I will tell you that, if I come and say, I can haul for $100,000 less, you can't say, oh, we saved 100,000, because I've already been told if I take the hauling from them and I go to their landfill, they're going up on your tipping fee.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to, we'll
Right.
have to adjust.
And I think that we're kind of at their mercy, for
Yes,
better
sir.
words.
And we may be able to contract with another landfill. I can put the fillers out. Once we get through the budget, we can start planning and maybe put a little committee together, get some ideas of, is it cheaper for us to haul half of our stuff and they haul half, or contract with somebody else, and see where we can go from it before we put the RFP out.
Because, I mean, it looks like it's been every year, it continuously keeps going up and up.
And every time we do the contract, you're gonna get a big spike. And that's next budget. And I hate it. And I argue with them. I mean, it just,
Right. And I don't know if it would actually be any cost savings to the county to do this. I have no clue.
right, we can look into it.
I just know that, and I guess one thing I've been doing looking at some stuff, and I guess the board at some point in time needs to be very aware of it. A lot of these landfills are limited in space that they will take other trash from other counties. So they cut you back and they only take so much.
They'll take whatever we send them. All of your MSW, which is your bag, trash, and garbage, goes to the transfer. And then we pay them to haul it to the transfer and then haul it to Rougemont. All of our C&D, like your couches and stuff that you throw away at the landfill, that goes in their landfill.
But that's where First Piedmont takes their stuff. They don't deal with Alamance over here or anything like that.
No, sir, or Pennsylvania County, anywhere, and I can check and see.
Who hauls? Is there any companies out of Alamance that haul?
Republic's out of Alamance.
Okay.
But they don't own a landfill in Alamance.
Right. That's all right. Thanks, Jim.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
let me ask this, how many sites around the county, not counting the main
8.
8? What's the percentage of trash? I mean, is that majority of it? Or, I mean, I don't have to have numbers, but you kind of know, is most of the trash coming from these other 8 sites?
Yeah, so I could give you the breakdown of what comes out of the landfill, what we call the landfill, like when you cross the scales to throw some, and excuse me, what comes from the packer boxes, because I get it separated. But yeah, your majority of your weight is coming out of your packer boxes, except for the landfill.
Okay.
Your
well,
busiest site is Pelham.
Let me ask this question. How many counties are still doing it the way we are? Because I know the other counties, or at least a lot of them, they have trash pickup. So how many counties do you think still left in North Carolina that are doing it?
It's quite a few. I know if you get down towards the coast and up to the mountains, they have convenience sites now. As far as counties touching us, not many. But there is quite a few counties that have the convenience sites like we do, or either they have convenience sites like we do, but they have a county employee sitting in a house, hut, or building there all the time when it's open.
So the trash that's at, I'm gonna call it the landfill over here, but, you're gonna get paid for whatever comes in there.
Yes, sir.
What tax, so that one's really not costing us.
So we break even on that, with the exception of we take free trash, the county trash, like if, depending on the project. We have a good neighbor policy, like we don't charge the churches and the nonprofits, as well as NCDOT, when they do roadside cleanup and stuff, they dump for free as well. So we do have some free stuff, but the fees at the landfill cover that majority, and renting the dumpsters out covers the landfill cost. It's about $450,000 out of the landfill itself.
Any more questions for Mr. Figure?
I've got one. AJ, going back to the monitoring wells, if we find that we've got a problem with the results exceed the limits, can we treat through the well itself, or do you have to go another step?
So you asked me that one time we were talking about it, and I asked my principal geologist, Ed, and he says we can, if need to be, if we could, but probably the best thing to do would be actually put a treatment well in and treat. Sometimes it's like blowing air into the ground or whatever. But he doesn't feel like we're going to be in that risk right now by the studies and data, that they've looked at. But we can treat through the well if we have to, but it's not a normal practice.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Figure. I believe Mr. Rose has a question for someone from his school system.
Is the superintendent already gone? Okay. I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, he said that the school board was gonna meet Monday to come up with their capital stuff. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
So if I heard him correctly, I think it's just going to be a presentation of what the 888 we are at. And then we're going to present that to y'all. And then it was also going to be a presentation of what we're expected to do for next fiscal year. Because again, we still need that facilities plan, and that's going to drive a lot of the things that we're looking at.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that all the departments been requested?
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, yesterday before we adjourned, the manager and myself both asked if there were any specific questions related to the budget numbers that you all have. And no one had any at that time. Does anybody have any today? Specific numbers that have stuck with you that you're not comfortable with? You have a question about? All right, since no one has a question about anything specifically in the budget, let's dig into this. Can we go back to that screen from the 5?
The last one.
Yeah, page number 5. Right there. Yeah, that's it. Now, this, okay, let me get my numbers right. I believe you said, Madam Manager, that there was 985, 984
Correct.
available in, money we have that we can use if the board is so inclined.
Correct.
And you gave these suggestions or possibilities, let me just call it that, not suggestions. I won't put words in your mouth. So you suggested them. Of these items on page 5 for using the majority of that money, not quite all of it, but the
Right.
majority.
To take into consideration, because I knew the EMS ambulance remount was a high priority and the sheriff vehicles. And I know that you as the commissioners wanted to give something back as well to the employees. So that's why I chose the ones that I did on here. But by all means, you can change that.
Right. All right. I just want to know the board's feelings on what you see there on screen 5, but you've got it in front of you, page 5. The one-time bonus, the remount, and the sheriff vehicles. Personally, and I'll just throw this out there, the remount is one that I don't know, we've got a lot of options on that one.
Correct.
That was put off because we didn't ever go before the LGC because we couldn't get the finance numbers all together to ask for it to be financed.
And we don't know how long it may take to get back before the LGC. So if
Right.
asked to go ahead and purchase it now, I think it would be wise to do so.
Okay. Is it the consensus, and we'll just, is it the consensus of the board to pay for the remount? I don't see a no, so I'm saying that the remount will stay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It went, you said it went before the LGC?
It didn't ever get there. We didn't have our financial house in order, and it's still not in order
Correct.
to get there.
Huh. So it wasn't denied, it never got
It
there?
never got there.
It never got there.
It was scheduled, and then they said,
So
you
yeah.
can't come because you don't have everything
Oh.
where it needs to be. So no, we never got in front of them, so to
Correct.
speak. All right, so we're good on the ambulance remount. All right, let's go with the sheriff's vehicles next then. Yesterday, it was proposed we could do 10, scaled it back a little bit to 6. I think listening to the sheriff a few moments ago, he's grateful for whatever we can do as far as vehicles go. I'm sure he would like to have a whole new fleet of vehicles, but of course we can't do that. What's the board's feeling on these 6 vehicles?
I think, it's been, what, Melissa, 2 years?
because we don't have any, in for 27, so it'll be 2 cycles.
And I thank you for all your hard work on putting these numbers together. I think, I wish we could do 10, but I'll go with 6.
Any other comments, concerns, questions?
I'll go with the 6, but I also feel like there's a lot of people driving these sheriff cars home. I know that, it's that, they're on call, this stuff, but I don't agree with, I think it can be cut back.
Yeah. I'm fine with the 6, but was it last meeting, a meeting before last? I told you after budget time, I wanted to look at this county vehicle policy as to who's driving them home and why, really. So
We bring
I'm
this
hoping
up
we can dig into that in
every
the
year
next
I've
6
been in
weeks.
office. We brought this up and it just seems to never happen. So I don't know what we can do to change it, but
Yeah, we gotta, I would say we need to rein some of these vehicles in, but I think maybe there's some vehicles that should be left on county property. Let's just leave it like that.
I agree.
Is everybody comfortable with the 6? I know Mr. Polt, you said you were.
Yep.
Tony?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
it bothers me to a great degree that we cannot lease these vehicles. Here again, we pay in cash what could go into our fund balance to get us back healthy again. But it's just gotta be one of our top priorities after the budget meetings get over, to get back in and get off this UAL, get our audits caught up, and to where we can lease as we used to, the ambulances and upfits and sheriff's vehicles and so forth. But yeah, I think it's we did save that money, and it's a good use for that money.
We are looking at that because we do think that there possibly could be better savings if we ended up going back to purchasing our vehicles. But in order to do that, we've got to set up like a fleet plan, like payment to be able to like pay ourselves to build it up. And I do think there would be savings there to look at that, but we've just got to have time to sit down and look at that.
Mr. Chairman, I do understand, kind of what you're saying as far as the county vehicles, stuff like that. And I guess one thing that I will push back a little bit on, and not so much pushing back, that was the wrong word. When you're looking at sheriff's office vehicles, what you got to look at is if you got a deputy that's at home and he's supposed to start his tour of duty. Well, if he's driving his personal vehicle from his house to the sheriff's office and a call comes out in between the time he leaves home and he gets there, I wouldn't be responding with my private vehicle to a scene. Too much liability. There's also issues if things happen when they check on work before they get there, if they were driving a personal vehicle that they can't address. So I think some of that, if they're on call in a emergency status, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. Now, as far as other vehicles within the county, yeah, we probably need to take a look at it, but, I've seen it to where, something happens and they're on the way, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know of any jurisdiction in the state of North Carolina that requires their officers to drive their personal vehicle to and from work.
All right, but my question is, how do you feel about the 6?
Sorry, I'm fine with the 6. Yeah, I'm perfectly
All
fine with the
right.
6.
Mr. Speaker,
Ms. Claggett? What?
I'd like to respond to that. I mean, one of my best friends, Greensboro Police, and he never had a car to drive home. He was a sergeant.
I tell you, gentlemen,
I just don't understand.
maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut. Let's stick on a budget thing and this vehicle thing. We are going to tackle it in the next 2 months or less. Let's get this budget stuff worked up. Mr. Claggett, how you feel about the 6?
I think it's a good compromise.
All right, Madam Manager, you're good with the 6 vehicles then?
Yes.
So between the vehicles and the ambulance reman, if my math is right, that's $626,000. I think it's right.
I think
All
you're
right.
right.
I know Commissioner Claggett brought up yesterday about giving employees 2 days off. And we asked finance officer to run those numbers, and he did. And one thing that didn't cross my mind when it was brought up was emergency personnel, the sheriff's department, EMS. If they take off, still got to fill that slot, so to speak. And more or less at, I guess, time and a half. Am I thinking about this right, finance people? So
You are
that
correct.
adds cost to it. Go ahead. Am I thinking about that right, Keith?
Correct.
Okay, okay. And I talked with the manager this morning and through some discussions that some staff had yesterday afternoon, I believe, they came up with this bonus idea. And the bonus is a non-recurring expense. Am I stating all of this right?
Correct, correct,
Okay, it's a non-recurring expense. So if you do it this year, it's not it's not in the budget next year unless you want it in there.
correct. And it's also, not added to the salary. It's just a bonus.
Exactly. One question I had concerning that number. You go back to page, well, find it somewhere. Okay, it's on page 2, I think. Full-time, down about the middle of the page where it says full-time, $1,000 each, 249 bonus. You got 249 employees. The bonus costs 249,000. That extra 57,508 is what?
So that's the FICA retirement, pieces.
But how much would the average employee get $800? Did I see that somewhere out of the
Yes.
1,000?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
So
take home.
that'd be the take-home pay.
That'd
yes.
be the take.
So they wouldn't be getting 1,000 and all the taxes above that would come out of the county's coffers, so to speak. They would only be getting 800.
Correct, because after you
Okay,
take
okay,
out for
okay.
retirement and taxes.
So that would whatever number I quoted, 50 some odd thousand, just the county's portion of FICA and retirement. Correct? Okay. How y'all feel about the bonus deal? And I believe, and I don't know if you stated or not, Madam Manager, that the part-time would be limited to those that had 500 hours or more by June 30th?
And are active.
Explain to me what an active and inactive part-time.
You could have had a part-time employee, just making sure that no one who got 500 hours in is no longer with the county, just making sure they shouldn't be in our system or anything. So it means they are still a current employee and active on the county payroll.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
And they also would, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I heard a while ago, they would actually have to have worked 500 hours from June 30th of last year to July 1 of this year.
Yeah, it would be from July 1st of last year to June 30th of this year.
Okay, so they would have had to have incurred at least 500 hours, if
Correct.
not more, to be eligible for this.
Correct. If the board chooses to do that.
Right. Do you know how many would qualify or would not qualify?
I do not have that exact number. I do know that when Ms. Sharp was helping us come with the numbers, that she said that she did see that there were some in there that only had like 6 or 8 hours, but I'm not sure of how many. Okay. I don't know the exact number. Yeah, she just gave us the maximum, so we would know, but as she and I discussed, we're certain this number will be lowered.
Right, so that this number we got not going up, if anything is coming down.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
What's y'all's thoughts?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
additional compensation for the employees is one of my main objectives. I didn't see how we're going to do it, but, $1,000 amounts to about 2% on average, probably, maybe a little bit less increase, which I think that's not inflation, up to inflation, but it's certainly better than zero. But it concerns me, we had to freeze 29 other positions to be able to do this. I mean, that's going to affect the departments and so forth. So in coming years, we've got to increase our revenues through economic development or whatever to where we can have a COLA increase next year, because we may not have any savings. So this may be just a one-shot deal. So we've got a work cut out for us the next 12 months to get revenues up.
Yeah, I definitely do not suspect that you'll have these type of savings at the end of FY 27.
But I like the idea that we not going to be taking away from fund balance and we saying, okay, these are our revenues and these are our expenses and we're not going to exceed the revenue. So that's healthy. It's just that we've got to build that fund balance up to where we beyond 11.5 up to 12 plus to where we feel more comfortable. But yeah, I'm in agreement with that number.
Any other comments or questions concerning the bonus, possible bonus?
Yes, sir, Chair.
Yes, sir.
County manager, so where's these funds coming from? Is it?
These are from savings in FY 26, our current fiscal year. So we'll have to come for the board at the June 15th meeting with a budget amendment to appropriate these funds. But they're savings that we had from FY 26. And we had on the previous slide, it gave, from where we did not purchase the vehicles, do the lease agreement, and didn't have to use the uplift, contingency, and vacancy salaries that were lapsed. It was a combination of things that made up this total.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's see, this is not a formal vote. Show of hands of those that, I'm gonna say crazy about it, but you could live with this bonus idea that's managers put before us this afternoon. You could live with it, raise your right hand. I guess I could. Those that couldn't. One majority,
346,000
yes, yes,
versus almost 1 million.
right. So the majority of the board is consensus that you could do that. All right, we got that out of the way. What else do we need to cover today? I know that we don't have the school capital outlay yet.
That's what we went with.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we have mentioned to them numerous times to have this ready for us. I don't
I agree.
see it, us panicking over what
Oh,
they
I'm
had done.
not gonna panic over it. I can assure you of that. But I believe it was 2 years ago. They didn't get us anything until mid to late May at all. I believe it was when former manager Mazzaro was here. I believe it's that year.
Are there any other changes you want to make to the proposed budget? Because we're just looking for final direction from you all.
Other than the school capital outlay that they don't have yet, I haven't heard this board bring up anything else. You and I both asked yesterday, and I asked today if there was anything, and
Right.
no one seems, I know none of us are happy with it overall. Well,
I understand.
specific items, but it's one that we're going to have to bite the bullet and live with, I guess.
And we'll come back before the board at the 15th meeting with the budget amendment definitely for these items right here.
Now,
that
how
you're
are we
approving.
going to handle the school capital outlay?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. When we
Because if that's the only outstanding thing,
Absolutely.
You can't be here.
After the 15th.
you could be rude.
The 400,000 is already in the budget. So
Okay.
you can, before you appropriate it to them, you can ask them to let you know what they're going to use it for. But the 865,000, y'all can decide that later because both boards have to agree. And that would be from the lottery funds. It's not coming out of our budget. That would be going.
Okay.
And
okay.
we are going to appropriate 400,000, but the 865,000, the only way they will get that is if both boards agree to get it out of lottery funds. Otherwise, they get the 400,000.
The 400,000. I know you said we can appropriate it, but is that the same way we did it last year on the 888?
You can
Uh,
still, before you give them, release the funds to them, we just have to budget for it. You can ask them to do line by line like you did before to show you what they're going to spend the money on.
Okay,
And then if they get the lottery funds, you can ask to see that as well.
okay, but the lottery funds are something that both boards have. to
Both
agree.
boards have to agree
Not
upon.
all.
So that's why I had sent an email to the superintendent to let him know that, he may want to prioritize because if both boards not, agree, that's something they definitely need to take a look at.
Okay, okay.
Mr.
But
Booth, what was the total number that we gave them last year?
For, I'm going off the top of my head, for the baseline, it was like $3,078,000, the baseline, and then we appropriated the 400,000 for capital, and that's the exact amount that we're giving them again this year.
What they won't be able to say that we didn't, if we did that number, that we didn't cut them in.
Right, and he was here, the superintendent was at the recommended budget. I've talked to him a couple of times since, and I also talked to him on the phone today, and he seemed pleased with what he was receiving.
correct me if I'm wrong, the school system is the only thing in this county budget-wise that we did not cut.
Correct.
correct?
They are the only ones that did not receive a reduction.
They should be well pleased. All right, so with the 400,000 that we can approve that's in the budget, so we're not really waiting on anything from them at this point.
No, that's up to them how they proceed on. And then it'll, I would assume they would come back to discuss with our board, appropriate, going for the lottery funds.
And the board has given you direction on this 900 and whatever some $1,000. You've got that. Anything else that you need as far as putting the budget, final budget together? All right,
That's
so
it.
we don't need to meet on Monday then, am I
No.
correct?
You're right. We do not.
So you will have a budget ordinance for us on the 15th?
We'll have the adopted budget we'll be bringing before the board. We'll have that as well, and the budget amendment for these FY26.
That's actually just savings from this year
Correct,
that we're gonna make a budget amendment, but the money
Right.
won't actually be spent until 27.
correct. Yes.
All right. Everybody okay with what we've talked about?
Do we need to, no, it's a 6:30 meeting, the 15th.
15th.
Do we need to start earlier? Maybe to put some of this together?
She should have everything pretty well condensed, I think.
And you'll have it ahead of time in your packets as well.
Okay.
So, because it's really, at that point, it's just the board adopting.
Yeah. And we've already had the hearing on it
Right,
last Monday, so
right.
I'm not saying it won't be somebody here to speak during public comments. They're welcome to, but the hearing for the budget has passed. Gentlemen, I appreciate everybody's input and everybody's work. And like I previously stated, it's not one that anybody's crazy about, but it's one I think we can all live with. And a special thanks to everybody in finance, everybody that's involved, manager, Ms. Sharp, Mr. Everett. Thank all of y'all. No, it wasn't an easy task, but it was one you got done. And I believe I told you, Madam Manager, 6 weeks ago, we would get through this. We would get a budget. So looks like we've reached that point. All right, this time the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion from Commissioner Smith, second from Commissioner Rose. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. All those opposed. We stand adjourned.